Welcome to Ponchatoula Live, the show where we make it easy for you to connect with the people of Ponchatoula. I'm your host, Parker Layrisson, and today I've got a fantastic guest who, if you know me, or even if you don't know me and you're looking at me, you know I love to eat. And so I'm really excited about today's guest. He's a super talented chef. He's got a great business here in Ponchatoula that my family and friends and I have enjoyed. And I can't wait to ask him more about it and share that with you so you can hear more about it. Well, there we go, Chef. There, I think we're up now. Thank you for your patience. We had a glitch. I don't know what's going on there, but as I mentioned, folks, I have Chef Allen Fabre with Between the Buns here in Ponchatoula. Chef, welcome to the show. Why don't we kick things off with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Nate, thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me. Yeah, a little small catering business. Started off in the house. Decided last year to kind of pick it up. Actually, this year got moved into the commercial kitchen, stuff like that. Doing plenty of options, plenty of things. Kind of throwing everything at the wall right now. Just trying to help the business grow while I'm in the commercial kitchen. But small town guy, grew up in the West Bank of New Orleans.
Yeah, you grew up in Lafitte, is that right?
Yeah, Lafitte. Yeah, small little fishing town. It's considered an island, right? One way in, it's by a bridge.
I love it. Yeah, so tell us about that. What was that like? What was growing up in Lafitte like for you?
So super small. Maybe 50 kids in my graduating class, maybe a little less. Everyone knows everybody, things like that. But growing up in like it's a fishing town, right? So I grew up in everyone's grandparents, everyone's grandpa, most of us, our dads, grandpas, siblings, they were all trawlers or commercial fishermen or something along those lines. So I grew up loving seafood, things of that sort. It's just small town, and that's kind of where. I'm thankful for the little small town vibes I got. That's kind of why also whenever I moved away, I didn't stay far, but also I kind of picked a little bit of a smaller town too, even though I'm right next to New Orleans, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Finding that middle ground of, hey, not too small, but also not those big cities, Hammond, Ponchatoula area. I kind of like the best of both worlds,
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't that long ago that Ponchatoula was a truly small town. Just in the 47 years that I've been around here, it has changed profoundly, especially in its size. To think that we now have a high school with over 2,000 students. You mentioned how small your class was. Now, my class, the class of 95, was pretty big, but it was nothing like the size of the class now. But certainly one generation before that, in my dad's day, it was tiny, So there are a lot of folks here that can relate to the size of town you grew up with and the kind of slower pace that you alluded to there. How did you end up here from Lafitte to here? You mentioned, kind of wanting to be in a small-ish town, if not as tiny as Lafitte. You pass by New Orleans and bigger places, but how'd you get here on this side of the lake?
So it's kind of a spirit moment type. Me and my buddy were one of my best friends growing up. We were renting actually my older brother's house in Marrero of the West Bank, and he wanted to go back to college. So he went to Southeastern and he never finished, and he wanted to go back. And I was like, I'm just gonna come tag along. I'm not going back to school, but I'll just come tag along, see what happens, and kind of end the story. Kind of just over the couple of years, that was about 7 years ago, maybe a little more, 8 years ago, something along those lines. And met all kind of new friends and stuff. And eventually I was just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to hang around here.
Yeah. Well, what were your first impressions when you came? So it's cool. You're kind of along for the ride, supporting your friend on his journey to go back to school. But what did you think when you got to town? What were your first impressions, if you can think back to them?
It was the only people that I met from day one were people that worked out in my gym with me. And then that's kind of how I met my girlfriend, all my best friends that I'm currently with. I had a buddy open up a new gym. That's kind of where the meal prep started. We'll get up to touch on that later though. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was the middle ground of, since I grew up 10 minutes away from New Orleans and I'm from a small town, I felt like it was a perfect combination of the vibes you get from both, kind of the best of both worlds. Bigger than my small town, but smaller than the big city next door.
Yeah. We do have kind of a nice happy medium going up here.
Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned, the social impact that your gym has had, because I've seen that. I had two best friends in law school. One actually just won a trial in AMET today. He lives in New Orleans and he's one of the top trial lawyers in the state. And but the other one practiced law for a few years, didn't take, and he's now running a CrossFit gym in Idaho. And he's just telling us all the time how much happier he is. But the culture there, it's like family. And when I saw your beautiful girlfriend, Dr. Edwards, at the business expo with you last week, she was helping you in your business, and I kind of recognized her, but it was out of place. I'm like, you look familiar. And you mentioned that y'all met at the gym. So, it's brought romance into your life, friendship. Tell us about your gym and the impact it's made, and just expand on that if you don't mind.
Yeah. So when we first started here, we were at we were at a gym in downtown Hammond called CrossFit Hammond.
Right.
And then I only worked in that gym. I worked out in that gym one day, and then my next day, Brad McKee had opened up a new gym. We were there for years, and then my buddy Brad Bayham just opened up North Shore Fitness, and I was in a kind of small town, just like cooking out of the house still at the moment. And when he said he was opening up his gym, me and him are real close friends. I was like, you know what? I'll do a meal prep. I'll come part-time coach for you. Let's go all in, and that kind of led to a lot of things. But someone you probably know, Tiffany Waddell.
Oh yeah, well, Tiffany was my classmate in high school, and her husband Buster's a dear friend of mine. Yeah, I grew up with. I love his family. Great people. Yeah. Tiffany's great.
Tiffany, Buster, friends. Cassie Sadie that lived down the street from us. Brad Bayham he lives right down the street from us as well. We just got back from a vacation with Tiffany and Buster and some other friends. And yeah, I mean,
guys, I said hello. And if you don't mind, I'll give a quick plug for Tiffany. She's a heck of a real estate title lawyer. She works with one of my best friends, Jeff Leschere. And they kind of tag team all the things real estate in Hammond. Their company is a very good one, Florida Lee Title. So, great family. Everybody knows the Waddell family, from the good old Ford dealership days, and Buster and his brother Josh and his brother Casey and their dad Don. And just one of the best families in town. Their mama's a sweetheart too. I just can't say enough good things about the Waddells. So you may not be from here, but I can tell you what, you landed on the right set of people, because you couldn't have better friends.
No, I agree. They've been with me. I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
They've been with me since day one. From working out together and through my whole journey of starting a business and all of that. I appreciate it. I do. I agree. I think I found the right group.
Yeah, the meal prepping part of your business, is that Gorilla Grub? Am I right about that? Yeah, I thought that was a really cool name. So, since we're in the ballpark of talking about how that all started, tell us about that. Tell us about Gorilla Grub and the meal prepping that you provide, and just share that product with us if you don't mind.
Yeah, so being a bigger guy in the gym, might not be the fastest guy in the gym, but being one of the bigger guys, they always refer to me, as the gorilla of the gym and all that stuff. And whenever, like I said, when my buddy Brad Bayham opened up North Shore Fitness, and I wanted to get into the meal prep, the biggest thing was, what would I call the product? And I was like, it's got to be something. It can't be between the buns. That's my burgers and my lunches and stuff like that. Got to be something a little bit healthier. And one of my friends,
but it's also got to go with the kind of big swole theme too, right? I mean, you're not talking. There's a lot of paths to health, right? And you're not talking about marathoner fare here, right? You're talking about protein and getting ripped. That's cool. So what I've done here, Allen, is bring up your website here. Hopefully, folks can see this. And you can go to BTB craftfood.com. And BTB, of course, stands for Between the Buns, which is a different project we'll talk about a little later. But as you can see here, folks, it looks to me like you've got menus here with prices, and you can just click on this, right? So if you don't mind, share with us a little bit how people, because, you mentioned a product that people need. Folks are on the go. People want to eat healthy. Lord knows you can't drive through anywhere and get food like that. And in a bit, we'll get into how I can, vouch for how tasty your food is. It's delicious, but is it as simple as just going here to the website, clicking through and ordering, or what should people know about how to participate in Gorilla Grub?
Yeah, so the page you have pulled up now, that's going to be like you said, the Gorilla Grub link on our website. Okay. That's the order form you have pulled up. That form changes, the menu changes every week. Every Wednesday, I post a new menu. There's 3 options, 3 meal options. So you get a small and a large variation for both. And then there's usually a bulk protein option and then 2 family style meals, right? So the family style meals aren't going to be measured and weighed out, but great for the, hey, I'm leaving work, I got to get me and the kids food. We don't want the quick and easy fast food. Oh, I did order family meal from Gorilla Grub this week. I'm good to go. I got 2 meals in the fridge. Those 2 busiest days of the week, whether it's the kids got sporting events or band practice, whatever it is, mom or dad's late at work, we don't have time to make something, and we're good to go. That's kind of, the family meals are kind of just started maybe a month or 2 ago. But
and that I can tell you as a dad, that's a great idea, because my boys are 6 and 8. And just like you said, we all live life on the go when you're at that stage of life. So yesterday was cross country meets. Today it's something else. And it makes it hard for my wife and I to cook. And, but you feel guilty about buying them unhealthy food all the time. So you've got good stuff here. And for folks, if you can't see, you're looking at delicious options. It's, Chipotle chicken bowls and Philly cheesesteak potatoes, pork tenderloin and sweet potatoes. And you also have the ingredients listed. You've got, all your basic health information from calories and proteins and carbs and fats. So this is really neat, man. So Gorilla Grub, as I understand it, maybe kind of the origin story. You're cooking out of your house, but it's clearly not the only food product that you provide, right? I mean, you mentioned Between the Buns, you're doing burgers, and I got turned on that. You mentioned you kind of getting started earlier. I can tell you the word of mouth buzz for you has been great, because my wife works in the school system. She's at the junior high in Ponchatoula, and she starts coming home on Fridays talking about, oh, she missed out. She saw her colleagues eating these delicious looking burgers and chicken sandwiches. And, she's like, oh, it's the buns, and she left the Livingston Parish school system, which was kind of famous for these buns that they make out there. And she's been missing good locally made bread products forever. So when she heard about y'all, she's like, we got to get there. So finally, she gets in on the list, I guess, with the crowd, and they go. Now she picks up her own order. But she turned me on to it. And so I was able to get, burger and chicken sandwich for a buddy of mine. And it was just delicious, man. It's a great product. So, tell us about how you evolved from cooking, meal prepping for friends at the gym, at the house, to a full-fledged multi-product business with your own location and a commercial shopping center and all that.
I appreciate the business, of course. But yeah, so actually Between the Buns is the origin story. So it started off as
kind of backwards.
Yeah, no, you're fine. The meal prep kind of took off and kind of helped me grow and expand. That was kind of my first bigger endeavor there for sure. But the Between the Buns started, actually it was during COVID. I was just kind of with a lot of downtime like most of us had. And fortunately was still able to work too, but had a lot of downtime. There wasn't a lot of things to do, go out and about. So I just started cooking and cooking a little bit more, and started playing around. And I like the creative side of cooking. That's kind of what drew me in, and always changing it. So what better than like a burger? Because everything between the buns is endless, right? And for a while I was like, do I even want to make my own buns? And if everything else is going to be on point, I'm talking hand cut fries and side items and ham formed patties and
onion rings, real onion rings. Don't forget your fresh onion rings. Those are delicious.
Onion rings and French fries are all going to be cut the morning of, with a very very night before the event. It's not just hanging around. Everything's fresh cut, handmade. Um, and so during COVID, I kind of mastered a few different recipes, and the business mind at first was, let's go food truck route, right? Let's do burgers, do food trucks, stuff like that. And at the time, Gnarly Barley was looking for pop-up vendors, and I was like, well, what a great way to kind of get started, kind of get the name out, not have to just go dive straight into this big business adventure. Let's start off a little smaller. Let's go get ourselves out there. My first ever event was at Gnarly Barley, and it was one of those ones where everything that could go wrong went wrong, right? We had all the equipment was running for the first time together. So we had generators not working properly, but didn't have the right extension cord for this piece of equipment, all that stuff. So I ended up, my little brother had to run to his apartment and get me a little pancake plug-in griddle. And so I was only making like so many patties at a time.
You're basically cooking with a George Foreman grill. Look, let me tell you, as a small business owner, every entrepreneur that started up their own thing can relate to what you're talking about, because whether you're flipping burgers at a pop-up for Gnarly Barley, or you're practicing law like me, or just whatever, Murphy's Law is going to strike. And it's going to strike when you are small and don't have a big team to help you rebound, and you're poor, you don't have a ton of money to invest yet. And it's just, I think it's one of those things. It's one of God's ways of testing us to say, are you really up for this? Are you really sure? Because there's that safe 9-to-5 life out there with less headaches. So while I'm not, happy that you went through that, I'm sure it was a test. I do giggle a little bit because it reminds me of the early days of my law firm. I want to let you know, Chef, that I'm able to share. Our producer, Danny Lynn Dennis, has put the links up, both to Between the Buns and Gorilla Grub here. And so as you can see, I'm posting them at the bottom of the screen. But for anybody listening live or later on Facebook, all you got to do is go to the comments, and you can easily access the links to these websites we've been talking about. But while I talk about comments, if you don't mind, I want to share. We've got a few coming in here from some wonderful women here in the local community, beginning with Miss Jeanette Galafora. She's just one of the sweetest ladies in the world. My wife and I just think the world of her. And she said that everything sure looks good. And I'm going to tell you, Miss Jeanette, it tastes even better than it looks. For those of us that have been to Between the Buns on Friday for burger service, we're blown away. For folks that came last week to the Ponchatoula Chamber of Commerce Business Expo, we were lucky that Chef Allen was cooking for us there, and it was great. So, take it from me. As you can see, I like to eat. This is good grub. And Miss Rosemary Gardner, thank you also for tuning in live here, like Miss Jeanette. She says, Chef, that you have a great concept here. She says, what an amazing asset to the Ponchatoula community. And she says, thanks, Allen. Miss Rosemary, thank you for tuning in and sharing that with the chef. And then we have Miss Jeanette. She's listening live and typing fast. She's already back. She says, I bet it is. And if you like it, and I like it, she will too. Thank you, Miss Jeanette, for putting the
appreciate it, ladies.
And then finally, Mary Caulfield says that she's your aunt. You are her nephew, and you are an amazing cook, and she is so proud of you. How's that make you feel to hear? That's gotta be gratifying, huh?
Oh yeah. No, I see. It's hard to get back to Lafitte a lot, but those, every time I post something, the family back home, the friends back home, they're always sharing the posts and stuff. So even though they don't get it as much as y'all do, but they still help out a whole bunch, still help spread the word and support me from afar,
That's neat. Okay, it's one of the neat things about social media. While there's so much scary and bad about Facebook going on, the great part is you can stay in touch with people when you're not next door, and you can help small businesses grow before they have the budget, frankly, to advertise and whatnot. It certainly helped me and my little business. Connie Vadrine Edwards says you can't go wrong with fresh made buns. Your buns are delicious.
Oh yeah, that's Jamie's mom. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So
she's had the lunch.
We're talking about Dr. Jamie Edwards, who is Alan's beautiful girlfriend, and sometimes help her. She was his sidekick at the Business Expo. And it's funny how when you see people out and about, and I see this sometimes with people that see me. I don't wear a suit every day, but of course I do to court. But somebody who knows me is like Lawyer Parker,
Yeah.
sitting somewhere else, and I'm, like coaching basketball in shorts and gym or whatever. I'm like, what? And I saw her, and I'm thinking, I know his girlfriend. Who is that? And it took me a beat, and I remembered, oh yeah, that was my wife's doctor, and it was cool. But yeah, Jamie Edwards at North Oaks Magnolia Clinic up there at North Oaks Hospital just does a great job. So it's good to see her mom, Miss Connie. Thank you for tuning in and supporting Allen. We are here with Chef Allen Fabre. We're talking about his businesses Between the Buns. I'm going to bring back up the website here if I can figure this out, because it's got, of course, neat introduction to you. Beautiful slide deck here that will show you a variety of great foods that y'all cook, but also up top a link to your services. So catering and tailgate. Let's talk about your catering angle, because as we and I discussed before, and I know where my assistant and you are planning, we do team meals, family style meals at my firm, where once a month we get together and we huddle in the conference room and feed everybody. And so we're working on getting you in there to cater for us. But as I understand it, you can cater big stuff, small stuff, and everything in between. If you don't mind, tell us about your catering offerings.
Yeah, so this is just one of the cater menus. At the end, there's also a wedding catering. We haven't done a wedding yet, but
neat. Yeah,
we had to. Since I'm in the commercial location, I decided to, kind of let's expand the menu, go for bigger events.
And I probably should have mentioned this earlier. Forgive me for waiting so long. The commercial location is located right there off of Veterans Highway 51 in Ponchatoula, right next to Joe's Italian, right? So, folks, if you remember where Twisted Tomato Pizzeria was once upon a time, then you know where Between the Buns and all of Allen's workshop there. It's kind of like a little Willy Wonka lab where you create all these delicious concoctions.
Oh, yeah.
But so it looks to me like a pretty full service catering menu. And if I recall from talking to you at the event, on these stuffed buns, guys, that's what we had at the especially in the boudin with the pepper jelly. Whoo, it'll knock you on your feet. But that was really, really special. But as I recall, you're pretty flexible, right? Can you tell us about because you mentioned weddings, which is obviously big and formal, and we're talking about my team meal, which is small and not formal. But it sounds to me like you can kind of take on any project, right? You're pretty creative about how you approach it.
Yeah, so I want to be able to kind of reach anybody, right? Especially starting off. When I first started off, I was still trying to cater out of the house, so it was all small. And then one time I tried to feed 200 people, and it was chaotic. We got it done roughly, but it was we still got it done. So yeah, like you said, you have about 8 people or so in the
typically we have about 10, but some work remotely and don't make it in for the meal. But we should be about 10 on that day.
And you can pull things from the catering menu, and then the burger menu that I rotate every Friday for the lunches. I have a full burger menu that you can also pull from, and you can order any time of the week as long as you order it ahead of time, like a regular catering job. So you can pull from that catering menu, and then there's also a burger menu you can pull from, and I can give you trays and pans of food. And just like the burgers and the buns, everything's homemade, right? So every sauce, seasoning, blend that we use, everything's going to be homemade. Pasta sauces, one of the pictures you showed earlier had the mini muffaladas. I make my own muffalata bun, slightly different than the classic, but pretty close with the flavoring. So every time I put something in front of you, I'm trying to make sure it's homemade,
So I found that burger menu you mentioned, and you can see here, folks, a wide variety of burgers, chicken sandwiches, other sandwiches, and those fresh cut sides that we mentioned earlier. So that's really neat. Allen, we've got a few other comments here that I want to share with you. Well, the first one will probably bring a smile to your face. Miss Connie says she's so proud of you.
Oh yeah, thanks.
But you got a lot of people in your life proud of you, from back home and here too. That's got to make you feel good. And then one of my favorite ladies in town, Miss Faye Ivaniski. Hey, Miss Faye, so good to see you. I missed you in those SJS carpool lines. She's yum, can't wait to try. She just looked up the info, so people are already checking out that site. That's good to hear. Folks, if you're listening, you'll know we're here with Chef Allen Fabre. We're talking about his business, Between the Buns. Let's go back a little bit, because we kind of rushed through your upbringing and your transition from Lafitte to here. What inspired you, if you will, to go into cooking? You kind of told us how you got
Yeah.
started, but clearly you have a passion for food, and having tasted some of your products, I can tell you, it's sophisticated food. I mean, we're just talking about burgers, which can seem simple, but you're not picking up buns, bunny bread and slapping a preformed patty in there. Everything's scratch made. It's kind of craft approach to this. Clearly,
Yes.
there's a passion behind that. So, where does that come from? How did you get into this from kind of a passion perspective, and
Yeah.
what inspires you about food?
So definitely, like growing up in that small town, that fishing town, you're getting the fresh seafood. So grandparents, my mom, grandparents on both sides, aunts and uncles, you always had someone cooking. My dad was a great chef. Everyone kind of cooked homemade stuff, right? Whether it was simple or complex. Most of the time simple, just because you're just getting the family, so-and-so just got shrimp off the boat. Boom, here we go. We got to peel them, and then we're going to cook, just frying up some shrimp. But that homemade approach to everything, and that kind of, and then I started, when I got bigger and older, in the high school, grew and got into working out and playing sports, and just wanted to be bigger. So obviously fell in love with food, because that was the easy way to get bigger and stronger, making sure you get enough protein, stuff like that. But that kind of turned me into, hey, I just want to eat and try everything. And then it's funny too, because even when I was younger, I used to fall asleep at night watching the Emerald Lagasse show.
Oh, really? It was Bam!
Yeah.
I love the Emerald show, man. He's great.
So even before I even got into cooking, because for the most part, before I moved to Hammond, I did a lot of just basic meal prepping and stuff like that. I would go elsewhere for my creative ideas, go eat local restaurants and things like that. So growing up on the West Bank in a small fishing town, being close to New Orleans, plenty of options for that great Southern flavor that we love down here. But
well, you can't pick a better kind of culinary mentor than Emerald, because he's got kind of small fishing origins. He's up there in Rhode Island fishing territory, and but he passed through New Orleans, and I mean, wow, Commander's Palace. He helped turn that into one of the best restaurants in the world, and what an entertaining show he had and has. He's had many shows, but what a legacy! Now he's got restaurants all over the world. So, so that's cool, man. So you've got it sounds like a rich tapestry of family influences, all the way up to Emerald, who's perhaps the biggest food celebrity in the world, or certainly was, in his prime. Miss Rosemary's got another good comment here I want to share that I think is wise here. She says, "Practice makes perfect," and she fully anticipates that your business will have lots of practice, and so she wishes you the best of luck.
I appreciate it, Miss Rosemary.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Miss Rosemary. So, we're here with Chef Allen. We're talking about food. We're talking about life. Let's talk about some of the people in your life, right? I clearly, Jamie's got your back. She's there. Buns. One thing I like to ask folks, when we're talking about their significant others, whether it's girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives, even siblings, parents, whatnot. How would she describe you? Because I think we all have one image of ourselves, and then there's kind of like, I know my wife's version of Parker Layrisson would be much different than my own. And remember, Miss Connie's watching, so you got to man. But what do you think she would say about you? If I had the good Dr. Jamie Edwards, on the stand here, so to speak, and said, "Tell us about Allen," what would she say?
Well, I got to be doing something right. She's kept me around for so long. But,
good point.
Yeah, she probably said I talk way too much, right? There's times.
So would my wife. There's nothing wrong with that. About me.
I'll be rambling on, and she's over there just like, I got maybe 2% of what you said because you said so much. But I appreciate her, of course. I kind of tell people every now and then, we have two dogs that we adopted. And I was like, I was just the first dog that she adopted. She kind of she's the doctor. Obviously, she's the breadwinner. She kind of supported me along this ride.
Wait, but you're the bread maker. So, y'all both have the bread going.
Yeah. I'm her private chef from day one, right? So
yeah, right.
I was her private chef before I was everyone else's. So.
That's great. Well, I think you guys make a heck of a pair. It's inspiring to see you guys supporting one another, and it's so important in any relationship, right? I mean, because you
Yeah.
guys are in it together. So the what would people be surprised to learn about you? Perhaps we've talked about Aunt Mary and Lafitte and the people you're with here now, and what might people be surprised to learn about you? Because I've learned over the years a lot of times don't judge a book by the cover. The big swole gorilla grub dude might have the tenderest heart and be like a Dungeons and Dragons nerd or whatever. So it's like, what
Kind of
would
not
people
far
be
off from
surprised to
that.
learn about you? I'm sorry, so I missed that. What'd you say?
I said I'm not so far off from what you just said.
Oh.
So yeah, definitely probably one of the nicest guys, right? Going to be the big teddy bear, right? That's what
Right.
might give off that gorilla appearance, but the big teddy bear at heart. And I kind of a nerd a little bit. Jamie will probably, that's another thing Jamie might say, it might not be Dungeons and Dragons, but it'll be a few other things. Big sports nerd. And I can tell you, the height, weight on pretty much 80% of the guys that you're going to watch in tonight's NFL football game, different things like
You
that.
probably
So,
got a mind for the stats, right? I
yeah,
remember when we were kids, we had baseball cards, and I could recite those stat lines.
yeah,
It's just like I could tell you how many homers Mickey Mantle hit in 1950. Not anymore. I can't remember.
right, right.
Now I'm more into Judge and Soto, but that's cool, man. Well, I promise I get you out of here on time. So we're not at the end, but we're nearing the end. While we're still on the topic of your business, what else should we share? What did I not ask about that you want to cover that you want to share with our community?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of hit on some of the main details and all the things that we have talked about. So with the meal prep, that's every week. That's going to rotate every week. I've been doing it for a little over a year now, and I'm just getting to the point to where you're starting to see things for the second time, right?
Oh wow.
So that stays fresh and try to make it new every time. And even if it's the same, I might change the side or something a little different.
Right. Because
Keep it
variety
just-
is the spice of life, and
yeah,
especially with something we all, for example, eat a lot of chicken, right?
right.
But it's important to have it come different ways, or you'll just get tired of it and
Yeah.
break down and go eat something you shouldn't.
Yeah, so that comes out every Wednesday. I post the menu, like I said earlier, every Monday. So you can order online, and I take all forms of, you can Venmo, credit card, whatever you need to do. But every Monday you can pick up at my the location you talked about earlier. You mentioned that one, and then also
And do
I
you
deliver
keep it in that cooler up front that's on the left when you walk in? Is that
Yeah.
yeah? So that's easy, right there, right? Okay,
Yep.
that makes it
And
easy.
you already paid for it, so even if
Yes.
I'm in the back cooking something for something else or bagging up a delivery, you don't even have to talk to me. You can just, because I might hold you for 5-10 minutes and
Hey,
waste time
to
talking.
an introvert like me, that sounds delightful. That's
Yeah.
great.
So instead of me holding you up talking, just rambling like Jamie will complain about, you can just walk on in. That cooler's going to have a bag with your name on it, have your order,
Excellent.
everything. It's going to be labeled and have all those macros that we mentioned earlier. So that's the big kind of every week that's rotating. And then the lunches is every Friday that I find myself in town. So I was out of town last Friday, so we didn't do a lunch service. But tomorrow we'll have a lunch service. Today I actually posted the menu for it. And then I tell people, if it's just one or two people, you can come walk on in. You're not going to wait long for the food. It will be made to order, but it won't be, it won't hold you up too long. But let's say you guys want at lunch tomorrow, you can go ahead. You can shoot the business a text today with just listing out what your order is, and I can have you written down for a time slot tomorrow to pick up and have you ready. When you walk in, all you got to do is pay for it and be on your way. So some of the businesses, I tell them, if you got a good big order, 5+, 8+. We had some teachers order a couple weeks ago. We had like 10 or 15 people. I can't remember the exact number, somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
And
probably at Ponchatoula Junior High, because I know my wife's colleagues are definitely fans. They're chatting you up right now.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
And,
well, okay, please continue. Yeah.
And then so that catering menu you showed, I kind of listed as catering and tailgating because a lot of the menu items on my regular catering menu, it kind of works perfect for tailgate parties. Sport. I mean, we're next to. I live in Hammond. You're in Ponchatoula, but we're both right next door to Southeastern. So you have, lots of tailgates around here. Obviously, lots of people in this area is going to be fans of the Saints and LSU as well. And I think that a lot of the menus, I actually had a friend at the gym today tell me next week for the LSU game, they actually want to get a little tailgate package together. So a lot of the menu items isn't just for just whatever you're catering, whether it be fancy party or lunch for the business, but also for all your other, birthday parties, tailgate parties, things of that.
Yeah, I mean, as I look at the menu, it's perfect for parties, whether you're doing it, on campus at LSU or Southeastern, or doing it at your house. It's a great menu, and that's really exciting. So clearly, you seem to love what you do. There's a passion there for it. Clearly, you've had kind of a vision that's grown. You mentioned starting up, cooking out of the house. Then you're doing pop-ups only. Now you not only have a location, but you have, a variety of products. Is there a vision for where this thing grows? I mean, do you kind of always want to be exactly where you are, or are you thinking about doing this bigger or adding other things? What's your vision for the future?
So up until this point, I've only done private dinners in other people's houses, right? Being in the commercial location, I eventually want to start hosting my own. I have enough room in the dining room.
That would be cool.
Get that going. I love the private dinners. I like to tell people I can offer them everything, right? I can offer you your healthy meal prep. I can offer you an unhealthy cheeseburger, and then I can get you down and sit you down at a white tablecloth dinner with some of the private chef services. But
it's versatile, man. Circling back to that sports analogy, you're a utility player. It's like you mentioned football.
Like Taysom Hill of cooking, right?
Yeah. Well, I was reading a book today, and they were talking about slinging Sammy Baugh, the old great Washington Redskins quarterback who was from Texas, and he literally led the league one year in passing, punting, and interceptions. It's like you're the chef version of that, right? You're kind of doing it all. That's really cool. Well, I want to share a few more comments with you here before we wind down. First is my dear buddy and my lunch buddy, Ryan Griffin. We served on the TARC board together, and he says, "How are y'all doing?" Ryan, I'm good. Seems like the chef's doing well too.
Oh yeah, enjoying my time. Yeah,
thank you for asking, man. We'll have to get burgers together. Well, from Chef Allen here. Mary says, "Allen, get your butt back to Lafitte. They all miss you, and they want some of that amazing food." And Colin Panks says the food is delicious and that you are modest and amazing. So that's gotta warm the heart.
My workout buddies.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Colin.
Colin, I like your profile pic there with the little kid, man. That's really neat.
He had him in the gym working out with him the other day.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah. Well, look, Chef, I've taken enough of your time. And as I mentioned earlier, I promised to get you out of here at a decent hour. But before we go, is there anything else on your mind, on your heart, anything at all you want to share with our viewers here in the Ponchatoula Hammond community?
I've only been in the commercial kitchen starting earlier this year. It's just me. I hired my mom to come help out a few days a week. So she's actually still in Lafitte, trying to move her up here. So I'm trying to get her up here soon. Maybe before the end of the year, we can figure that out and get her here full time. So it's usually just us two. I'll hire someone to work the register on the Friday lunches, but it's just me and my mom for the most part, and me most of the week by myself as well. And as I grow, I hope everyone's patient with me, but I want to grow. I want to do the lunches more often. I want to do the private dinners more often. I want to, but being the first time in a commercial location, it's just taking a while to kind of get used to it, kind of expanding at a rate that I can kind of control at the same time, right?
Yeah. Well, it reminds me when I started my own law firm, I left a big successful firm and opened my little shop in Ponchatoula. And for 18 months, I had no staff. I was answering my own phone. And although this was the 2000s and caller ID had been invented, my old landlord was not looking at investing in a phone with caller ID. So I was answering my own phones with no idea who was calling. Yeah. And at the time, it seemed so tough to be multitasking and doing it all. But I look back and I'm really glad I had that experience, because later when people were answering the phone for me, I kind of knew what they were living with and what, how to better manage them on that stuff. And hopefully you'll have the same experience when it comes to working that front desk and,
Oh, yeah.
all the other things that go into it. But I thank you for your time. You clearly onto something here. You were the hit of the Business Expo for the Chamber of Commerce. You're the hit at the junior high, and with everybody else who's tried these Friday lunches, and it sounds like Gorilla Grub is just blown up. So congratulations on your success. Good luck with your growing business, and thank you especially for your time here today. And to everybody who's still watching, thank you for watching and for listening. Ponchatoula Live appreciates you, and we'll be back next week. Y'all take care.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Chef.